Greetings and salutations, everybody. This is League Unlock, and my name is Eric. It's been a while since we had a episode that you could call San Holo or Han Solo. It's a solo episode because Mark's not here. It's myself today, alone, as we're going to start the long journey that will be previewing the LCS in 2021. We'll do the LEC as well, LCK, LPL. We're Power Rankings. We're doing the Power Rankings. It's pretty much all of the rosters are figured out by now, at least in the LCS and the LEC. There's one or two players or positions here or there that still need to be figured out, or we don't know exactly what they are. But for the most part, we've got enough that we can base our Power Rankings off of. So we're going to go 10-1, give each team a little bit of time in the spotlight because, listen, even the bottom teams in the LCS and the LEC, they deserve. There were changes, sweeping changes across the board in both leagues, so each team deserves a little bit of recognition for changes they did or did not make. In some cases, the recognition teams deserve is heavy criticism. And one thing I will say about, that's actually two if I lift both my fingers. The LCS this year, one of the bigger changes is we're seeing, at the very least, either rebuilding or bottom tier teams give an opportunity to players either from the academy. They're investing in young talent and they're investing in the minor regions because they're not taking up those import slots, at least from the OPL that we've seen in years past. So that's one thing in the right direction that the LCS will be doing in 2021. So even if we're seeing some teams struggle, not make playoffs, we're at least going to get an opportunity to see what some of the younger or unproven talent has in the North American scene, which is something people have been calling for multiple years now, not just splits, as a way to improve North America internationally. So that's one step forward in the right direction that they are going to be taking that year, and that's something that we'll be revisiting throughout these Power Rankings as we highlight some of those players. But let's start with number 10 on this list, and this is a playoff team from last year. We're talking about Dignitas. Yes, a 5-13 8th place playoff team, but a playoff team nonetheless. So how they squeak into playoffs, had a bit of, I hesitate to even call it a miracle run last year because, again, they finished 5-13 to make playoffs. But how do they drop spots coming into this split? Well, first off, you lose your best player in Johnson, who was clearly the most consistent for them. He's out, not coming back. Obviously, he's over on FlyQuest, so that's a big hit for them. We don't even know for sure who that 80 carry filling that spot is going to be. You've seen rumors about Sneaky, but it sounds like he's not coming back. That wasn't a good enough opportunity for him. And listen, his stream is huge and fantastic, so I see why he would only come back for a good opportunity. But it doesn't really matter who they get. It's not going to be anyone better than Johnson right now. And the rest of that roster, it wasn't great. And really, okay, Saligo and Fake God come in. Fake God and Saligo might even be slight upgrades over their counterparts. Last year, you had Phoenix and Viper at times coming in. Froggen's no longer on the team. Acadian, if you look at the whole year, was better than Dardoch in the times that he did start on the LCS roster for them. So losing Johnson, Dardoch over Acadian, Fake God and Saligo come in. That's not screaming playoffs to me. And assuming the rumors about the new formatting for the LCS just condensing down into a single split that runs almost the length of spring and summer, I hope there's not 8 teams getting into playoffs. If you're playing that many games and only 2 teams get eliminated, that will be completely ridiculous, which means 5-13 probably not going to be good enough to get you into playoffs, which means Dignitas, with this roster, again, doesn't really matter who they bring in as AD carry unless they're stealing Ruler or Teddy or Jackie Love. I don't see them finishing higher than, bottom 3. Maybe, of course, the variables are there. We're not always going to nail where they finish exactly, but I don't see this being a playoff team. Fake God and Saligo are a couple of guys that you can talk about maybe being nurturing that young talent that we've seen in North America, but these are guys we've already seen on the LCS stage for relatively extended periods. It wasn't an entire split when they were with 100 Thieves, but it was that same era when Afro was there. So 3 of these guys have already played together on a squad, and that was one of the weaker eras of 100 Thieves, which, again, doesn't instill a ton of confidence coming into this year. And you look at some of the weaknesses that Dignitas did have last year. It was time and time again, people were talking about, these guys don't fight. They were rolling over and losing games, and they were hardly there. It seemed like they weren't even playing the same game. They had the second lowest kills per game in the LCS at 9.3. Yeah, less than 10 kills a game, and under 1,600 damage per minute, which again was the lowest in the league. And whenever there's low DPM numbers across an entire team, there's just not much fighting that goes on in any of their games. Anytime you looked at G2 numbers when they were at their peak, it was around 2,000 they were averaging as a team. So under 1,600 is just, I mean, you saw it on the Rift countless times. It would be 22-minute first bloods or 4-kill total games that Dignitas was playing in. They just played so incredibly scared and passive that at times there's just no fighting, and they all of a sudden roll over. They're at a 6K deficit because they're just giving up objectives left, right, and center. And if that's your main issue, what are you doing to adjust that? Well, you need somebody vocal, right? Making all these calls or to do something. And you would think that Dardoch and Afro would be the guys, veteran players. Afro was a huge shot caller on CLG when they were at their peak, and on 100 Thieves when he was winning an MVP award. But you didn't see that with him in 2020. And it was a better year for Afro in 2020 on Dignitas than the end of his stint on 100 Thieves. But we're still not talking about prime CLG levels, and it's hard to see all those huge, massive issues that we saw out of 100 Thieves throughout all of 2020. I don't see this current iteration of the roster addressing any of that. And sure, you have Saligo and Fake God, who played together in Academy last year. They come in. Fake God, hey, he got Rookie of the Split with 100 Thieves because there wasn't any other rookies, really, so there wasn't actually a competition for that award. But this roster's not enough of a, nurturing young talent because we've already seen Fake God and Saligo, and it's not really fair to give them that as their only opportunity, that, half a split on 100 Thieves that we saw out of them. That's not really fair to fully gauge their potential as players. So I'm fine with them getting another chance, but it's not, I haven't seen the ceiling out of them to be like, you know what, maybe they could step up. Maybe they've grown a lot and this could be a playoff squad for Dignitas. I don't see any of that being there. So Dignitas, for now at the very least, hanging around at that number 10 spot. Hey, maybe they sign some huge AD carry and that changes everything. But with what's currently available in North America at the marksman position, don't see anyone, whoever they end up signing as their starter, pushing them out of that number 10 spot right now.